Hello everyone, my name is Relax and Panic, and this is another reaction to My Hero Academia. It is Season 3, Episode 7, and you know what to do, as always. If you want to see the reaction, go down into my descriptions, replace the circumflex dot parts with real dots, and enjoy the reaction. It is complete, everything in, so once you've done, feel free to come back here to hear out my thoughts about this episode, which was really good. I really liked it. And there were some, well, kind of unexpected things happening. So, see you soon. For those that came back, welcome back. Now, that was really a great episode. I mean, it was not as much action and punching and fighting as the last two or three. But it had its moments, and I really like it. It had a very serious tone in the end, which was necessary, which was something that was needed. So, but let's go through it one by one. So, we started off with Vlad King, and the students he is guarding, and we could finally see what his power is, what his quirk is. So it is blood controls. He's somehow able to, I guess, use his blood to, like, create stuff, in the meaning of that he can hold people. So he used it to, like, glue his enemy to the wall, which was interesting. But you could see that I'm not sure if he would have really got him completely out of the fight by doing so. In the end, he started to burn, so possibly he would have tried to burn everything up. And then Eraserhead came in and kicked the head off. That was incredible. There was, like, you know, a flying erasers coming in. Very nice. But in the background you heard the discussion of the students, which I completely understand. This moment, one of theirs is endangered. They know that the villains are after Kachan, after Bakugo. And, well, the teachers very clearly stated you're not allowed to go out, because we don't know if it's the only goal. And we learned by now they have other goals as well, you know, collecting blood, killing specific persons. So they have multiple goals while they were there. So it might very well be that they would have taken other students as well. So he didn't allow it, and I found it very interesting to see that while they were kind of arguing with Vlad King, who was not so prominent yet in the series, who is, although he's a teacher, possibly not one they have around very often, at least this class, when the teacher Eraserhead says no, then the discussion ends. You know, he is someone who can put his will on them, who can state, it's my decision, final, end of it. And they accept it, kind of. Although I can see their point, you know. There are only so many villains, and if all of the students would be able to come after them, they possibly wouldn't be able to defend themselves properly. But still, it's a danger that more students would have been injured or even killed. So it's a problem for the teachers what to decide, no question there. And they very clearly used Twice ability to copy villains, to keep the teachers at bay, to keep them busy so that they couldn't interfere. I mean, just think about it. If Eraserhead would have been in the end fight we have seen, Warpgate wouldn't have been able to warp out all the others, wouldn't have been able to warp out Kachan in the end, because he could have nullified this ability, this quirk. So it was important for them that the other teachers are busy. That is the one thing. Then we jumped back to the fight, which we waited for, where was not very much of a fight. There was a moment when I was like, okay, cool. Mezo Shoji did it again. You know, he showed that he is good, that he's perceptive, that he thinks additional to fighting, you know, that he uses his brain. So he took the pearls from the enemy, but sadly those were the wrong ones, so he tricked them, which shows that, you know, as I said, use your brains. The villains are not stupid either, so they tricked them, and by doing so they were not close enough then to rescue Kachan. However, and I really want to point that out again, There is a small hero of the episode, Yuga Ayoma, my belly button boy, who I like because he's just weird, you know. But he did what he could, you know. He shot in the right moment. He hit the target. He pushed the pearls out of the hand. I think he shot off his mask. And there was like, for a short moment, for some seconds, there was like hope that they could do it. They could rescue both of them, Tokuyama and Kachan. Sadly, it only worked for one, as it is. But he did what he could. He is not a melee fighter. He has no ability to survive any onslaught. He just has the button, the belly button, the laser. And he used it perfectly. I mean, he was hiding. They didn't see it coming. So, in my opinion, a good way of doing it. And I still think he was still having two other students which he carried. He was at least it was said before. So we had seen in the last episode where he was hiding and was worried and that he was caught. And the villains, I think they realized he was there, but then they were distracted. And he could have had the option to leave, you know. He could have had the option to run away, which it looked a lot like because he was shaking with fear. But instead he followed them. So he may not be the fighter in the front, but he did in his abilities what he could, and he showed that he has the mental toughness to at least follow them along, watch what's happening, and if there's a chance, then he is willing to throw in his bit of quirk he can bring into the fight. So, good one. Well, then we had the moment when they warped out. We had the fight before, so we had bit of Todoroki Ice, which was used more neither against him, because if the moment they couldn't see the magician, the entertainer, he used to create additional pearls. So I'm quite impressed by him. He's an interesting character. He is I still don't know exactly how those pearl power works, the compression. He can use it on himself, which is an interesting thing too. But apart from his quirk, he is someone who is dangerous because he is very witty. He's extremely clever. He uses every advantage he can get. You know, he uses cover to create distractions and everything. So that gives him, in my opinion, a huge benefit as being an enemy, opposing to like direct hitters, as we've seen as Mr. Muscular, who's just like punching, you know. Okay, he might be strong in melee, but more dangerous in the long term is Mr. Compression, in my opinion. He might be someone who, if they cannot catch him soon, who might be able to create like huge plans of what to do. Like Tomura is right now. So they had a bit of fighting, but not really big fights, not really much happening, because Warp Gate came in and brought out all the villains. That he ported them away, and in the end, I don't know why they recreated, why they unpearled, uncompressioned the two students they had. I mean, one was rescued, okay, Tokuyama. But I think they could have taken Kachan out without getting him out of the pearl. But I think it was a bit of like showing off and torturing of the students so that they see that they have him. There were two things which were surprising. The one thing is that Kachan did not do a lot. Which is surprising because, I mean, okay, well, you could ask yourself, but he was taken at his back and he pulled him in. He still could have used his quirk, I think. We don't know what the acceptabilities are, however, of the villain. Maybe he would have just blasted off his head or anything, we don't know. But I was surprised that Kachan did not do anything in this moment. Maybe he was surprised, maybe he was still weakened, maybe it's like an after effect of the compression, we don't know. That's one thing that surprised me a bit, but I will give it in because it is running for the show. It is working in the way of that he's abducted. So, okay. It was a bit surprising by character. And the other thing that seriously surprised me here is, which I took the picture from, the Don't Come Deku. So, Bakugo saw Deku running for him, charging for him, jumping for him. He could clearly see that Deku is done. I mean, he is destroyed. We have discussed this before. And if Deku would have reached him, he would possibly have just gotten sucked into the warp gate as well, because he was jumping, so he would have jumped into the warp gate. And on the other side is all of the other villains. So it would have been Deku against all villains, maybe Kachan a bit of help, but it would have been a disaster. There's no question. Deku would have been ripped to pieces. And we know that they have the order to kill Deku, while those who support Stain will not allow that. But it's very likely Deku would have been killed. So I ask myself if Bakugo was aware of that. I guess he was, and that's why he said that he shouldn't come. So he kind of told him not to come to save him. But that shows that there's a change in Bakugo. In the past, it was always Deku is the worst, you know? Bakugo is the one that hates Deku. It was always like that. Because it is this, as we know from their past, that he feels kind of not inferior, more like I will not allow someone weak to rescue me. It wasn't that here. In my opinion, it was really like, I wouldn't say friendship, but it feels a bit like, you know? It is like real worry, I would say. And it shows that Kachan has changed as well. So, interesting. It was not threatening at all. It was really that Kachan said that, in my opinion, because he was worried about what would happen to Deku. That is a major change. One that I think in the last season already started. Kachan was always the one acting as though he hates Deku and they are messing with each other. But I think it changed from the kind of hateful thing to a more he is the one enemy I have, the one that I can clinch with, the one that I can measure myself on. And over time it may have become to a friendly rivalry, not a hateful one. I think it is a respectful rivalry by now. And I think that's why it happened. So that was really an important theme, I think. Okay, so much about that. We had the memory of Deku about Tomura. If you remember that one, he told Deku that the next time they would meet each other, it would very likely be that Tomura is in for the kill. That he's trying to destroy Deku. That he wants to kill Deku. Because he's kind of aware that there is this connection with All Might. And he got Deku inside as kind of a primary target by now. Which was not in this mission here, however. So they were not in with like, number one mission, kill him. No, he was just a secondary target. But still. As I feared, he was completely smitten. He was completely deconstructed. So he was out 2 or 3 days. When he came back to his mind, the eyes reminded me instantly of I'm sorry, I forgot his name. The boy from his class who can turn on electricity, and when he goes full voltage, his brain goes dumb, and then he has the same kind of eyes. So that's the same for Deku here. You could see he was over his limits. His arms are still bandaged. I'm waiting for if there will be severe consequences still. Except for 3 days off. because I kind of think it would be something we can't avoid here. So I wouldn't be surprised if something is happening at least to one of his arms. And we had the whole background information now. So how many students were injured? That one of the team of the Pussycats is missing, which is very likely that she's dead. She might be the traitor because the principal and the teachers talked about that the only persons who knew where the students would be going were the teachers, this council that was there, and all of the Pussycats. So it might be it was one of the Pussycats. Might be. But I wouldn't point my finger on that because, it could be one of them, or which still might be they had some kind of spy ability, the League of Villains. I mean, we have seen students with quirks which are like better vision, better hearing, and stuff alike. So it might very well be that there's a villain who is able to spy on the council, on the teachers, even inside the UA without them noticing. I wouldn't take that off the table. It still might be. And they clearly stated the main problem right now would be if they would go against each other, because that would play in the favor of the villains. So it's the right call to not go against each other as long as there's no proof, If you have a proof, then sure, you shouldn't deny it. But right now, going against each other, questioning each and every one of them, where have you been, what have you exactly done, will just destroy them from the inside out. However, a lot of students were injured, a lot severely as it seems. We have Bakugo taken, and I think one of the main problems right now is the society itself, how it reacts, because that's what the villain wants. They want to shake up society. They want to cause distrust. Right now, they're causing distrust in the ability of the UA and the ability of the teachers to defend their students. But let's be serious here. It's a targeted attack on students and teachers who were not in any way prepared for that, who couldn't be. For a targeted attack, you cannot be prepared. It doesn't matter how good you are and what you're doing. If there's a targeted attack from terrorists on a police station, there will be as good as no chance that the police officers can fight back effectively. Because if the enemy checked before what the things are that are done in the station, when is who where are the weapons, where can we get in, and stuff alike, then they just jump in with automatic weapons and they just shoot down the police officers who just have pistols, because before they get to the armory and get proper weapons and shields and whatever, armor up, it's done. Same here. It is an attack on a group of people with special quirks, no question, who were not completely prepared for this attack. So I don't put any blame on the teachers here, because they were not prepared for that. Neither were the Pussycats. And in my opinion, they fought back with the help of the students as well, more than good. So it could have been way worse. However, that's not what society will see. That's not what the newspapers seem to report here. So they are putting blame on the UA. In my opinion, that is where they are playing in the cards of the League of Villains. I could go on this further, when it's attack on schools in general. If you have like a security officer there, you cannot blame the security officer that he couldn't stop those attacking. He's one guy with a pistol, or maybe even just a taser. And in general, I don't support kind of security officers in schools. It just sends the wrong vibes. But that's another thing. So as I said, right now the news are, in my opinion, acting wrong, but that's what they do, So question is, what now? All Might is blaming himself. I'm pretty sure many of the teachers right now are blaming themselves. But in my opinion, without real reason. Yes, he might have been in a pool at this time relaxing, but he couldn't see that one coming. How should he? He cannot be everywhere all the time, and that is what the villains are playing on. And where they have the big benefit of Warpgate, you know? Even in the moment when the attack is reported, the police, fire department, and the pro heroes are not there fast enough. Unless they have someone with the ability like Warpgate. And that is a major advantage the villains have. Okay. The police. Let's go on to the next one. The police seems to have some clues by normal, very good police work, by questioning people about the League of Villains' whereabouts, about the bar, which we know, which is interesting. So there seems to be a clue where this one is. And with the help of Momo, they know where the Nomu is, which doesn't have to be the bar. It might be at another place. But I guess it will be at the same place, so it will be just like double checking, you know? We have the clues from the publicity, and we have the clue from the little spy Momo put on, and it is the same place. Let's go in. All Might will be going in there as well. So I'm just hoping that the villains are kind of surprised, and it is not that they were aware, because if then, it will be a trap. And then it would be really bad, because it would be the third thing in a row where the villains win, kind of. I mean, they lost 3 people. They did not win really, but they got what they wanted. So that might be a problem if it is a trap. We've seen that Kachan in the bar was bound. His wrists are bound. I think right now we have not seen him going over the top. We have not seen him fighting back, really. Which is, in my opinion, a good thing. Because he cooled his temper. I think in the past he would have tried to, I don't know, explode the place and whatever. But with so many villains around, he wouldn't have had any chance. I think he right now is trying to understand what's going on, trying to read where he is, find clues, and possibly searching for a way to get out. Or send a request to someone who may be able to hear him somehow. So right now he is cool-tempered, which is surprising for him. But as I said, I really hope that he has kind of grown in the last 2 seasons. And I think he did. He is way better than in the past. And last but not least, we had the scene in the hospital again, where you could see that all of the class is in the hospital, not only for Deku. They are there for all of their classmates who are injured, and of the other class as well. And when Deku wakes up again, they are there waiting for him, coming in, trying to lift up his mood, talking to him, you know. And very fast, they go for, we have to save Bakugo. Deku's really down, which I can understand, because in his opinion it was his obligation to save Kachan, which is not true. But you know, he's a hero, so he wants to. I can see that he is crushed about it, but the others try to lift him up, and in the end it is should I write it down? Yeah, Kirishima, who, as we know, is a friend of Bakugo. I'm not sure if Bakugo would agree there, but Kirishima, at least from his side, kind of made a friendship with him, and is in for it to go and help him, which once again is a secondary character stepping up in front, showing that he's willing to do more, to be more, to get out of the normal habits. He already gathered the information needed. He realized the thing with Momo, so he knows how to get to the villains, and he tries to get the others in the boat. I'm not sure if it would be a good idea. And they discussed it themselves in here. So we had Ida saying we shouldn't do it. And he was not just saying it calmly, he was like exploding doing it. But maybe he is so exaggerated because he kind of feels that he wants to do it. You know, it's a thing of where your brain goes against your heart. Your heart says it is your comrade. You have to jump in. The thing of we do not leave anyone behind, you know? They got one of ours. We will have to go and get him back. And then the other side, it's his consciousness, the logic who says, man, there are pro heroes and the police doing it. If we go in, we might make it worse. We are not ready for this. We are not trained for this. Question is, are we? Or are we not? I don't know which side to support here. I mean, both have valid arguments. I'm in the same mood as they are. By logic, I would say, do not go in. Let All Might, the teachers, the pro heroes, the police do it. They are trained for this. They know what to do. And rescuing a captive is one of the things a pro hero has learned. So it is exactly what a pro hero is doing. It is their job. You're not there yet. Let them do. On the other hand, it's Bakugo, you know? It's your mate. You know the enemy already. You fought them. You know at least a part of their abilities. So I'm mixed up here as well. Don't know which side to support here. In general, this episode was really good. We closed this storyline in the meaning of the fight, you know, and that they got Bakugo. Which I really liked, although it felt a bit depressing, is that they lowered the tone, that they put pressure in the series. I could really feel it, that it was really a bit depressing, in the meaning of so many students injured. One of them was taken captive. The UA is losing the support of the society. The villains are getting stronger, and so on and so forth. So you could really feel this vibe, which is good, which I really liked, because that's what it is about. It's not just fighting and action and fun all the time. There are those more dark times which it is about. So I liked that. The other thing, in the last episodes overall, we could see it in the last season already, but it's way more prominent in this season, is that they were really good of taking characters who were more in the background and bringing them in the front. Without taking it from the major characters we have known so far, like Todoroki, Deku, and Kachan. They were able to pull them into the front as well, showing those are heroes as well. Those will be heroes, you know? In my opinion, many of them already are. In very many different ways, you know? And I really like that, because this is it. What is it about? Because in the last two seasons, it felt like, okay, there are 4 or 5 characters who will be like pro heroes, and everyone else is, you know, it's okay, you're a hero, but you're not a pro hero. And right now, it feels that most or even all of them could become a real hero, a real pro hero. They all have, and it's not depending on their quirk, which I dig, which was always the thing I liked so much. The thing about Deku was never the quirk, was never the power one for all. It was always the fact that he was willing to do more, to take the extra step, to sacrifice himself if needed, as we have seen. And we have seen this passion for it, for each other, to help others, by many other heroes, by many other students by now. And I really like that. That is something that makes this season right now very special to me. So, as I said, that was a good episode. I liked it. I'm looking forward to the next one, seeing what they will decide. I guess they will try to go in. I'm kind of afraid that this will go bad, because it is not a clever decision. But on the other hand, it is what I think they will do, because it's passion. That's what it's about. So that's it for this time. I hope you enjoyed. I did for sure. And as always, please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. And I will see you next Saturday. Until then, my name is Relax and Panic. Goodbye and out.